you.
Sir, audio and video, ठीक है sir? I mean,
First class, sir. First class. First class.
I think participants are more than 20, maybe around.
Actually, we expected more, but okay, it's fine.
कभी कभी बाय डिफॉल्ट छोटा ग्रुप भी बड़ा इंटरेक्टिव हो जाता है.
अच्छा अच्छा. Subject is good, sir. Subject is good. We had in the past 10 years there was lot of activity in power sector. We had power shortage and so many power projects came up. So
I'll try. Yes, I'll try to cover the challenges and valuations and maybe
yes.
but I will be covering from SFA angle. But I would like to attend the second session. I think it will be on hydro project.
Yes, sir.
Subsequent session, I requested for the link. So definitely I would like to see, because SFA and all the three segments or three classes, they are interrelated,
Yes, sir. Yes,
intermingled.
Yes, sir, yes.
So it is basically a teamwork which can work in consolidation or it cannot work in isolation.
Yes, as a team.
As a team.
Yes. Kajal, are you there? Kajal, madam?
Yes, sir, I'm here only.
Okay.
So, shall we start?
I think now,
yes.
Are you expecting any other participants? Otherwise, we can start.
No, we will start.
Okay, then.
We start at exactly at the time.
Yes, sir. Nice.
So I'm starting, sir. Good morning to all. Esteemed speaker of today's webinar, Mr. Harish Dhamija, sir. DJ Farbio Chairman, Mr. S.P. Sharma, sir. Our CEO, Mrs. Sarita Singh. Our participating professionals and my colleagues from DJ Farbio. I, Kajal Gupta, manager of Divya Jyoti Foundation and coordinator of the CEP, extend a warm welcome to you all. As you are aware, the topic of this webinar is big ticket size valuation power sector. Perhaps you are aware, India is the third largest producer and second largest consumer of electricity in the world and had an installed power capacity of 373.43 gigawatt as on October 2020. With growing demand, this sector offers interactive investment opportunities also. Huge investment is flowing in this sector from domestic as well as through FDI. Considering this as a good opportunity for work for the valuers exist in this sector, we have taken up this topic with Dhamija, sir. Most of you know him. He is a learned and experienced professional with 38 years of experience. He is a fellow member of ICI and ICSI. He is an insolvency professional and a registered valuer. He is a writer and renowned speaker. I am sure you will all enjoy this session. So over to you, Dhamija, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Good morning, all. Today, the session which we are going to take is, it's very challenging. The subject we have chosen. I will be covering, the power project valuation, and in the latter part, the impairment testing of such power project. One is a valuation. Subsequent, when you have a project in hand, the valuation is called as a initial valuation. And subsequently, when you go for a impairment testing, also the valuation is required. So I will be covering the impairment part also, how to compute the impairment valuation, impairment charge, so-called. So let us start with the session. First of all, it will be beneficial to have an overall view about the power project. So here I would like to request to know how many people have done or are engaged in valuation. I mean, in the present participants, around more than 20, how many are involved in valuation? And how many are in, have done the valuation so far? So I would like to see the chat if possible. Incidentally, I could not look into the, Kajal, can you come out the answer? And because the chat box is not visible, how many are in valuation?
Sir, myself, Anjan Devi, I am a valuer.
Right.
So there are 4-5 people.
Okay. The Renuka, whether you have done the valuation in the power sector?
I have not done the power sector, but I am RP in a power sector, sir.
You are IP in a power sector.
I am IP as well as RV, but I am an IP for a power sector, power sector company, sir.
Okay, excellent. It means it is IBC, you are involved into IBC cases where the valuation has already been done, or it is being...
Valuation done by the different professionals, but I am the resolution for the power company.
Okay, I think then I will be taking, the practical aspect, if you can help us during the discussion. Okay, so I'll take your help and advice.
Sir, no, please, sir. I'm a novice, sir.
Okay, right. Now, about the power project, it is very important to note what exactly the power project is. I mean, when I got, the assignment, suppose anyone got the assignment, one should know what exactly the power sector is overall. So I will be, see, the power project as such, when you have any assignments, it is always, I always give my advice that we should know the business model and the instrument you are doing the valuation. Here, when you are got any assignments on evaluation with respect to power project, it is important to note that the power project is divided into three parts. One is a generation of electricity, then there is a transmission of electricity, and the distribution. So these three segments are separate, and the challenges are separate, even though the regulatory authority is same. Is majority of these cases, the regulatory authorities and the regulations are same, but the one should know the assignment which I am getting is a generation project, transmission, or distribution. As far as, for example, if I say generation companies, let us see one by one and with example. For example, generation is normally a thermal power project, hydro projects, and renewable projects. Examples are NTPC, NHPC, Tata Power in a private sector, Adani Powers. So basically, they are at a generation stage. Then second stage is transmission. It means where the electricity generated is transmitted. It is not directly to the customer. No, it is only a transmission grid. Meaning thereby this one, the transmission, the tower. And the third is distribution, which we normally called as a discom. If you see the distribution companies, recently Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, the private partnership, private companies are also there in the business, and in the generation stage also, you have noticed that the power, Tata Power, Adani, etc. So here the point comes, first of all, we have to see the segment. Okay. Now, before taking that assignments, we have to look about the outlook of the Indian outlook or that sector specific outlook. This for this case study, which I'm going to refer, is we have considered the world outlook data. Let us see what exactly the International Monetary Fund is talking about the Indian economy. Why I'm giving you this as a detail? Because in our valuation report we have to mention the source also, source of information. So here, as per the world economy outlook, the IMF in October, they said Indian economy are projected to contract. There is a reduction, and then subsequently there will be a subsequent bounce back. The something like that. So this is a booklet. It gives a detail. It is 192 pages, and where I have only considered the gist part. Now going back, if you see the generation part, in the beginning, she said the capacity, India capacity is 370 gigawatt. Here, a person who is doing evaluation, he has to understood the technical units. For example, we have kg when you are doing a weight. Similarly, in electricity, you will find ampere, volt, watt, then the megawatt, then the gigawatt. Here, because it is very, very important, when we do evaluation, whether it is in million or in rupee or in crore, the million is 10 lakh. Similarly, here also, when you say the about the power project, the conversion ratio, the technical terms, are you doing a valuation for some gigawatt or a megawatt? Here, if you see the generation capacity, again the word is capacity. As you know, the capacity and the actual utilization is the overall going to affect, because you have a capacity, but the utilized capacity plays a major role. If you see the presently, we have thermal power, but the capacity utilization is very, very less. There are reasons are there. My point is here, when you have a discussion or any assignments on the thermal power or hydropower or other power generating unit, we must know the technical capacity. Here it says it is expected that the capacity of India will go up to 400 giga. So the giga means, see, the gigawatt is 1000 megawatt. Million is equal to 1 billion watt. Don't worry. My point is just one should be aware about the unit of measurement. Now, whether the demand is going up or not? Definitely, the power sector, the consumption is going up. Maybe urbanization, housing, railway, metro projects. Yes, demand is going. And, as a valuer, we must know the definition of deficit. We have a physical deficit. We have a, here, power deficit. Power deficit means we have a peak demand. The word is peak. Peak demand versus peak supply. This gap is basically very relevant for capacity utilization, for doing the valuation. Here, as far as the India is concerned, see on the next slide, this is a one covers energy deficit. I am not talking about energy deficit. I am only talking about the power deficit. Here the power deficit. See the peak deficit and the energy. The peak deficit, this is a peak deficit. Earlier the deficit was, demand and supply gap. Basically peak demand and peak supply is called peak deficit. Here now this has been almost reducing, and we may end up in a positive. Earlier, if you see the slide, the deficit 0.2% only. And why, the difference is there. Always the difference is because of the limitation in the sub-transmission and the distribution. It means it is at the second stage, the deficit. It is not on a generation. It is transmission and then distribution. So here, this is just a historical data, and basically, when we talk about the power, it can be generated by hydro, coal, nuclear, gas, RESC, renewable energies, diesels, and you will find the role of coal will keep on reducing because of coal shortages and due to enhancement in renewable energy. For example, we have a solar, we have a wind power, etc., etc. Here you will find the role is very, very important. The component, the segment percentage. Suppose you have got the valuation done is to be done for a coal sector, a company into coal sector. Then the future of this sector, the coal demand is not being filled up because of, there has been a various reason for coal shortages. Then if suppose your client is in a coal sector, then you have to do the study for this. Hydro, then you have to go for a growth for this. Because in all these cases, we have read about, we have understood that valuation is nothing but a present value of future benefit. So as a valuer, we have to look into the future, past also. The past is also important. The future is also important. If you see this here, in last year, the percentage, now it is current percentage. This is a thermal, hydro, nuclear. Just see the coal segment and the overall segment is 62%. It has reduced even in 1 year. Hydro 12% because this has gone up. That is a renewable energies, a renewable energy source. And this is the current data. If you compare with the last year, this coal has thermal gone and RES up. So this composition is very, very important if you predict the future, because in the renewable energy, the government is giving more incentives in for environmental angle also. And in thermal, there is a deficit of coal. So the moment you are increasing the renewable energy requirement, then the different schemes are to be in place. So we will see in the subsequent slide that there are committees are there on the electrical sector and their recommendations. In the beginning, it was introduced that India is a third largest producer of electricity. No, see, there is a one called production, second called consumption. Yeah, here, Mr. Pawan, can you help me? Mr. Pawan, please unmute.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Pawan.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Mr. Pawan, here, if I seeing a production of electricity, and I was talking about the consumption of the electricity. You know,
Yes.
do you think we have a GDP? It is one of the parameter to define the growth. Do you think the consumption of electricity can be one of the parameter for growth assessment?
Yes, sir. I think so, because higher the purchasing power in the hands of people, or the GDP is increased, there would be per capita increase in income, and it will in turn resulting in consumption of various items, luxury, or towards luxury, and everything is required electricity. I think it should be linked with GDP.
Okay, I mean it is linked with the growth.
Yeah,
I mean,
growth can be linked with the
the electricity consumption.
Yes.
You know, do you have any idea about the consumption per head, capita per, capita consumption in India, and how much is there in America or other countries?
I have read somewhere, but don't remember it right.
No, idea. I mean, any because in the subsequent slide, I will be sharing. Acha, in fact, there are two Mr. Pawan. One, I think Mr. Lohia. Another Mr.
Yes.
Pawan is also there. I think Mr.
Okay.
Mohta. Mr. Mohta, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
तो क्लास में ना पवन 1 पवन 2 नहीं हो जाते, तो गलती हो गई मेरे से. Now, see, यहाँ देखिए, the consumption in the subsequent slide we will see that the consumption as on date, I mean current consumption per capita consumption is 408 in India. In America, it is around 12,000 something. So it is almost 10 times. We will see in the subsequent slide. I think unmute kar lo. Echo is aa rahi hai. Echo aa rahi hai, please.
So it is 3 times.
Okay, please. Now let us talk about the capacity utilization of a thermal power. Why capacity? Because if the capacity, say the capacity utilization is 56%, do you think that it will be a viable project? It will not be, because capacity utilization plays a major role. And here it has drastically fallen to 56%, the thermal, because there is reason also, because of the renewable energy has gone up, the shortage of the coal. Here that is why government as an alternate is putting more focus on renewable energy. As far as the regulatory environment in India, we have a FDI, the 100% investment in the sector is allowed. And this figure is very old, not very old, but up to 20, this figure 82,651 crore is the FDI so far has been received in 20 years. Here we have, various government schemes. We have a Lakshya of 100% electrification. There are various government schemes. Okay. The reason I have started with a stress, and because you must know the health of the company, health of the project, or maybe overconfident. I mean, there may be over capacity utilization, under capacity utilization. So here, if you go into the detail, there are 34 coal-based thermal power and 31 gas-based power plant. The capacity utilization is, overall capacity utilization is 1.5 of this coal. Even I hope you have heard about the DISCOM. What is DISCOM? When we started our discussion, we said it is a generating company. It is called GenCon. Then there is a transmission company, Transcom. And last is a distribution company, is called DISCOM. DISCOM companies, because ultimately the power is sold through DISCOM to the consumer. And this sector, when we do any assessment, it has to be done by keeping in between the three parameters, because electricity cannot be directly sold because of the rules and regulations. In India, we have regulations, a very strict regulation on production, distribution, and consumption. With the DISCOM, you might have been aware that in the DISCOM sector, last year, more than 90,000 crores have been given to DISCOM because they're overdues to the, overdue to the Gen company. And this Gen company overdue was into coal sector. It was a vicious circle. So the DISCOM got 90,000 crores and to the Genco, or maybe through some transmission company also, and ultimately to a coal sector. So this DISCOM company were also or still in a red zone area. So this I was referring to the DISCOM bailout package. Because revival, ultimately when you are doing a valuation, you have to take the major assumption is a going concern. Are we doing a company which has a, future or not? Survival or not? So here also the going concern versus liquidation value, or the company is already in a debt trap, then the cash flow, the future cash flow is also to be assessed, which is based on the short-term health and long-term health. That is why we used to do a ratio analysis. We will say current ratio, quick ratio for the short-term health. For long-term, we have a debt equity ratio, debt service coverage ratio, various ratios are there. So that is why the ratio analysis we have used started from capacity utilization. This is also a ratio. Then we said about the growth. There are various parameters. Now we are talking about stress in power sector and initiative. It is power to all, and these are few schemes. Here, Mr. Pawan, when I was referring to, this is the consumption electricity in the country. If I take 10 years ago, maybe somewhere in 97, it is 2002. 2002 and now 20. 559 to 1208. And that too, electricity, just mind the ratio also. I mean the unit. The unit is kilowatt hour, K, kilo, watt, and H is also there. Be careful. Are you doing evaluation? V, ampere, watt? I mean, that is why it is very, very important. I am little bit comfortable because I am a science student. I did BSc Physics honors. So I am little bit, comfortable with such terms. When you got any assignments, please make one matrix of unit conversion. And if I compare the India data, this is now in a comparison, India consumption, and I'll take, the USA. The USA 2017 was, latest also there, 12,573. Here in 2017 was 1149. So almost 10, 12 times consumption. Per capita, and it is going to be, 2030. All these data which I am sharing you, it is from government agencies under Ministry of Power. If you would like to go through the data, I'll share you the link also. The Ministry of Power, and we have a electricity regulatory agencies also, and the data is published through these agencies. Here, as per the study. So this why I'm discussing you. It is a future, and this may be 2 or 3 times, even though the period is very long. And the power consumption is total power generated divided by population. So this is the formula per capita. It is again important to note that there is national infrastructure pipeline, and this gives this pipe. There is one study, I mean the group is there, and this group, in fact the proper word is task force. The task force, I would like to show you the the screen is visible. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is.
Sir,
Right.
it's visible.
Now, if you see the, and this task force is, they have given the report for 5 years. And see the screen, it is for 5 years. The goal from here, the all data or the supporting papers for any study, we can refer to such, as per this task force is a group of social economic infrastructure project in India for 5 years. And this is a total investment they are projecting is 111 crore, lakhs and crores for the next 5 years. And out of that, the power sector is 14 lakhs crore. I mean, out of 111 lakhs crore, 14 is for power project and 9 is for renewable energy. And here I have said for transmission, 3 lakhs crore divided by 111 lakhs crore. Why I have shown transmission separately? Because our project study today, we are going to cover the valuation of a specific client which is into transmission. So basically, now I will be talking about a transmission in detail also. Why? Because our client for which we are doing the study or we have done the valuation is from transmission sector. I mean transmission subsector. If you see again this 200 and the energy, this NIP report, I have the NIP report says this is the energy. Energy includes petroleum, etc., atomic energy, and now about the transmission. Now, till so far, we have been discussing about the power project, power. Then we said there is a thermal, hydro, and renewable energies, gas also. Now we have talking about a transmission. Transmission is, it is in between, which I have told you, the transmission company. The purpose and the scope of valuation. Now let us see the. Now we are coming to the specific, assignment on valuation of a project. There is a proposal. Now I'll, giving you the detail of valuation project. So there is a company. There's a company has formed SPV, and we have to acquire the 100% shareholding of that company. Our scope of valuation is to determine the enterprise value and the equity value of SPV. And the valuation date is 31st December 20. Valuation is to be done under SEBI regulation. And then which methods valuation standards have to be followed. That I will be covering in subsequent slides. Now I'll tell you the background in the subsequent slide. If you see, I said SPV. SPVs are, the full form is special purpose vehicle. These are normally, formed for a specific purpose. The moment it is over, then the company as such are being transferred or shifted, control given. Here also, the assignment is, the see on the screen, this power grid, they are into transmission. It means the number 2 stage. And this company has formed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SPV companies. SPV1, 2, SPV3, SPV4, SPV5. Now the value, this, and there was an assignment that this company, this power grid, is going to form a trust. If you would like to ask any question, please, unmute and ask. The trust has been formed, registered with SEBI. And this trust, this will be issuing the units. Under SEBI guidance, any acquisition with respect to the investment IT regulation, in the earlier slide, I have mentioned the regulation of SEBI IT regulations. This, this trust is going to issue the units, but it will be acquiring with the money so invested by the investor. This 5 units, 5 SPVs, in which power grid is having 100%, and these are going to be transferred to this units. Now the valuation is required. These companies are going to be acquired by the trust, and this trust requires valuation V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Now this is into transmission. They are into transmission. The assignment is to value these units or a companies which are into transmission. And power grid, the money will be, power grid will be attached to this trust as a sponsor. I think that part is not relevant. Here the point is, valuation is to be done because this investment INVIT, infrastructure IT, is going to acquire, and we have to do the valuation. So it is into transmission sector. Now it means, as a valuer, what I have to do now, I will be concentrating now for this transmission company. The checklist I have prepared. Let us, the detail of, I said, as a valuer, I would like to know the generation, transmission and distribution. Then the client company is engaged in transmission, how this segment is related with other segments. Then the power transmission network in India. Now I have, localized the study into transmission. And what are the major factors which are affecting the transmission? And the key growth factors. It is, if you find the valuation report, we, as per the standard, we have to write key drivers. Always remember to put, key driving growth. Key drivers, key growth drivers. Here, as a matter of checklist also, as a valuer, this matter is very, very relevant, and the same has been considered while doing the valuation for a transmission sector. Now, here, when we talked about a transmission, it means transmission means now I have to think about the operating regulations. And under Ministry of Power, there is a Central Electricity Authority. Issued the report, and it reports covers, because it is a mandatory on the part of the authority ministry to release the actual projected versus growth. So from there, I have taken the October data. As per this study, the key drivers in the transmission sector, please mind it, now we are on a second stage, the power transmission. They said, now transmission role is to transmit. So growing electricity demand, if the demand will go, the transmission will also go. Here, now it has been referred that the pan-India growth is now presently, and it will go up to 3,000, more than 3,000 BU, that is per capita. This will go, energy will be produced higher, transmission will go up. Another point is, as on date, there is a gap between demand and supply, and the deficit again in transmission. Therefore, the transmission capacity, as per the study, that this much gigawatt transmission capacity is required. Because there is a focus on renewable energy, this energy also require additional transmission lines. He said government is targeting 175 gigawatt of renewable energy. So because it will go up, then definitely the transmission requirement will also go up. It's very, very important concept is green energy corridor. Here I'll tell you the green energy corridor means, we have the renewable energy, and these 8 states are more rich into renewable energy. The Andhra, Gujarat, Himachal, Karnataka, Maharashtra. But these 8, states are to be linked, because here there is a production, consumption is there in the another state. So therefore, the transmission of a renewable energy from these 8 states to other states is also required. So again, there is a expenditure 280 billion on transmission. Then further, as the higher the load, if the load is high or it is a low, then the type of, the wire, the capacity of the wire will also require a change. Here, there has been a concept that the cabling will be changed from, because there will be bulk transmission from a lower voltage cable to a higher voltage. When you talk about a voltage increase, cable means it is a transmission sector. Again, there has been a, earlier the flow was from thermal power, which was in East India. Now the future is renewable energy. So again, thermal power will be going to be reduced, the consumption, and accordingly there will be a rearrangement in the structure or a network of cables. And not the last one, but not the least, is about the requirement in the railway. There's a railway network is going to be electrified. So here in this, because my client is into transmission, we have considered the task force pipeline. They have also said, again, very, very important. I think now I'll request someone who can help me. I think Madam Renuka, you were dealing into, you were acting as a IP. I mean, who was there in IP?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm an insolvency professional.
Renuka, have you heard about the? Do you have your background is science or commerce? Just.
So I'm a postgraduate in psychology. Then after that, I did my CS and IP and rest RV, sir.
So you have some science. I mean, the background of science.
No. But I did my MBA in power renewable energy, sir, in Dehradun, UPES.
Okay. If anything goes wrong, or please stop me.
No. It's very in-depth knowledge, sir. I'm
right.
learning.
Now, here I would like now be there on the line, because here I'll just discard and come back again. Can you read out this paragraph just for the sake of others also?
Yes, sir. The transmission lines, according to the report of Task Force on National Infrastructure Pipeline, around 110,000 circuit kilometers of transmission lines are required to be added within the period of 17 to 22.
Yeah. See, here my point was, we have read about kilometer.
Yes, sir.
But what about circuit kilometer? My point is, one should not accept any assignment if accept any assignment without the depth knowledge of that sector. Very difficult. The technical, that is why I'll tell you, in the power sector, we always go for a technical report, which has to be part of our main report. So any idea on circuit kilometer?
No, sir. No idea, sir.
See, that is why my idea is, even though I have not done any valuation, but I have tried to capture and share you the exactly what you see on the subsequent slide. I have searched out the definition of a circuit kilometer. Here it says this is a substation, and we have a three-phase. If you see, there are one phase, two phase, and three phase lines are there.
Yes, sir.
He says circuit kilometer means you add out all these three lines. He says total circuit length is equal to phase 3 plus phase 2 plus phase 1. It means if the phase 1 is 1 kilometer, phase 2 is also 1, then the length will be 3 kilometer circuit length. So, see, I mean, I have tried to capture, because when I was going through the details, I said the I should be aware, or any valuer, when he is talking, I mean, the unit of measurement, then I searched out, and then I thought it is better. So it means it is not simply, it says kilometer, but it says circuit. It means normally have a 3 faces. So if you go by kilometer, maybe 113/3 will be the, if it is considered 3 faces. So the idea is, it is not a kilometer, it is a circuit kilometer. Okay. So this is the transmission requirement, and they said balance this circuit is to be completed in the subsequent. Now the key challenge is, now we are talking about a transmission sector, the construction and the requirement. There is a gap. So there is a, here in the transmission, one is a time factor, second is a space. I mean, there are 2 major factors when you go for a transmission. They said land acquisition, because your power project, I mean, the transmission has to cross over various, agriculture land, maybe the highways, etc., etc., river. So here, land acquisition, or there is a called right to use. Then another problem is on losses, that is a transmission and distribution losses. We have a theft, defective meters, errors, and then remote. And it is very alarming to note that the transmission losses in India, where it is India, देखिए सबसे बड़ा हो गया यहाँ पे. Consumption में we were at, consumption में we were at 1000 or 1200. In the transmission loss, we are at ahead. This is 21%. The losses in India is this. If I go to America, so it is half of that. This is 5.6% in America. So this loss is a very big challenge when you do the revenue model and compute the revenue expected receipts. Now, we have touched upon the challenges, the drivers. Now, as a valuer, the source of information, because I have to do the valuation of SPV, which is engaged into transmission, then we have definitely have to go for the audited financials of, because the valuation is on 31st December 20, last 3 years data plus April to December 20 data, and then projections from on projections I'll discuss. Then historical average, very, very important parameter. It is called AAA. Average annual availability. Very, very important. Here, this point is, when the Genco company is ready to transmit, your transmitter or a transmission system should be ready in 100%. Otherwise, there will be, heavy losses in transmission itself. So it means the availability, the ratio is considered as 99% availability is considered as a good parameter, good achievability production ratio. But if goes down, say, I think there is some, as per the norms, if it is beyond a percentage, then one has to pay the penalty. So that is why in the valuation, this is relevant when you arrive at a penal clause. Then projected financials. Here, when you have, in the power sector, we have heard about the term PPA. This is power, power price. But here, power purchase agreement. When you are into transmission, this is called transmission service agreement. So here, instead of PPA, we ask for TSA. Because in the power sector, we have a tax incentive, huge incentive, huge rebates. So that is why the carry forward losses and the income tax benefits is based on that. The valuation is. Another important, this is a unique feature, the technical report. And this technical report will be prepared by independent consultant. And you here, very, very important point is this technical report is otherwise under SEBI INITV unit regulation. 2 valuers are to be appointed. One is a registered valuer for financial, and second registered valuer is for technical report. So it is a part of SEBI infrastructure IT regulations. But for power project also, it is always required, advisable. Why? Because the life, the technical life of the assets, the quality of the assets, the historical availability of the assets, AAA, all relevant to the valuer. And you see one point here, I'll request Mr. Chirag. Mr. Chirag. Mr. Chirag, can you come out? Mr. Chirag. Mr. Chirag. Mr. Chirag, I think Mr. Arvind. Okay, I think you may please unmute, and I hope Chirag.
Yes,
Arvind,
sir. Yes, sir.
Now we are just how far you are, this flow is okay for the presentation?
Yes, absolutely.
Now my point is, what do you think in a power sector, when you make a projection revenue, the period covered, as a normal valuer, we said the business cycle or 5 years projections will be enough for valuation by using income approach. What do you think in a power sector? Your thought process is, what exactly do you think the period or a tenure of that, agreements?
I think, sir, in my opinion, though I have not done the valuations power sector, in my view, since these are very long-term projects, because you are distributing power to distribution companies, so it depends on the PPA, power purchase agreement, in my view, how long should be not less than, I think, 15 to 20 years. at least
How much? 15 to
20 years.
okay.
Because heavy investments are involved, because in absence of power purchase agreements, how you can put up projections on the revenue of the transmission company, in my view, sir.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other views? I'll add on, the Mr. Sushil would like to add anything on the tenure of the project, because the very, very important.
In my opinion, it should be at least 10 to 12 years, because there
10
should
to-
be some acceleration losses also of equipments you are using.
I'll share you. Anyone would like to add? Because now okay, now see, I have done my assignment was on a valuation for a rooftop solar power project. Here when I did the valuation, why I'm sharing you, just to give a flavor of the tenure of the agreement. In that case, this was my long back, 3 years ago. It was my second assignment, second client. I did the valuation for a solar project. In that case, then I asked for the data. He said, do you have any power purchase agreement? He said, we have. Then he said, we have a power purchase agreement for 14 years. See, for the solar project, he showed me the 14 years power projections. And it was a, fixed price, 3 rupees 50 paisa per unit. And there was a, beautiful projections are given. And in the power project, there is a efficiency is always decreasing year by year. It is not a growth project. The efficiency of the tower start with 98%, and it goes on reducing, say 2.5% like that. So I'm just giving you the idea, not exactly the percentage. Maybe it started with 98%, then it went down to 2.5% every year, and ultimately, in that case, because the projection, if I took for 5 years or a 7 year, then again it is going to be wrong, because the project is for 14 years. Then ultimately we had a discussion with the ministry persons, renewable energy person. Then they said, no, valuation has to be done by considering the full period. Because then I said, what is the terminal value? In that case, they said terminal value will be the 0, because the project will be handed over to the concerned person at whose roof it has been installed. I said, okay. I mean, then the terminal value was 0. Another point, it means in this case, I'll tell you the 2 points which are just I think it is better to share you. So in that case, I used 14 years projections, and projection was downward as per their, and it was fully insurance covered as per the formula we have covered. Here the point was the terminal value was 0. So accordingly we did. One point, when I asked my client, why always there is a loss in the solar project, I said, I am not convinced with your projections. He said, why? He said, because, can you tell me seriously why you are going for a valuation, even why you are investing in a project which is giving you a loss? He has shown me a loss picture. I said, there is some, because as a valuer, I start digging up. I said, what is the business decision? Every business decision should not have into a loss venture. He said, sir, I have not told you. I said, what is that? He said, government is giving me the subsidy, which I have not captured in the projection. I said, please, for God's sake, I mean, as a valuer. So that is why, as and when any assignment comes, I first initially try to get the information, dig them. Bhai, loss kyun aa raha hai? Only for getting the valuation at a desirable level, or it is less than face value, you are going for a negative. I said, no. Then the moment he said, he said subsidies are coming, which is linked to the percentage, so and so. Then I considered those. Before that, I studied the income tax impact, whether this it is a capital receipt or a revenue receipt or otherwise. So my point is, as a valuer, so one should keep on, it's a power project. It definitely, I have been, why I am correlating in a small project, in a rooftop solar, very small. It was basically was to be installed at Delhi government ki school ki roof pe. It was towards that. So it is very small projects. But here, why I have told you the correlation, the life I took 14 years. Now I'll tell you in the power sector, it goes up to 35 years. Sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
It is 35 years.
Okay.
And another thing, the moment we will go on, we will see the hidden things. If the power project, then agreement for how many periods? Then who is going to, control this? So you will find in the subsequent slide. In fact, I have did a detailed, thorough, so-called research, and in the subsequent slide we will share. In this slide, I have not discussed
Excuse
this
me,
slide.
sir. One question.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. One question.
Yes.
Sir, if there is an agreement for long term, like 30, 35 years.
Yes.
Okay, and there are fixed rates, and whatever the rates are defined, the agreements are there. But if the government reduces the prices of those electricity rates in between, so what type of rates we should consider, because agreement is different and the government has reduced and there is a case pending in the high court or in the court of law for that rates. So in projection, at what rate we need to project, either at the government reduced rate, either as a agreement rate, because it is not certain what the court will decide in future.
Right. Whether this screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Can you read out? You have touched the very relevant point which was about to touch. Can you read out the red area? The
petition filed before
CERC.
for
This is a Central Electricity Regulatory Commission.
Okay.
For
force majeure and change in law and its impact on the expected increase in revenue. The order is awaited.
So in our case study, we have covered this. I'll tell you the story here. We have a 35 years agreement. It is not open. It is always linked with change in law, and there is a tariff is also regulated, because there is a very big story that this sector, the tariff is also determined by government agencies. It is not free that anyone would come, because there is a regulatory body and there is a central electricity agencies which defines the tariff. So here also, in this case, the change in law or inflation or other matters, there is always a mechanism. When you have a government supply, when you have a government supply or a long-term project, it always carries a formula.
Okay.
So the future rates, how it will be, one point is, if there is a change in law, or for example, there is a COVID has affected the generation, the transmission, because you will find there is a force majeure clause. It is always. Then initially when then the COVID started, people were saying the COVID is a force majeure or not? Because force majeure means it is act of the God.
Act of the God. Yeah.
Haji. So they say, do you think the COVID is the act of the God? No. I mean, here the point is because there are 35 years or 25 years, so it can be more than that. When you go for a projection, it's very challenging. In our projection, when we made the projections in the research paper or supporting papers in 35 years, the increase as we have submitted or the power grid submitted, and it has been convinced that increase has been considered while making the projections for 35 years. Here the answer is we have applied the formula as per the terms along with the probability also of winning the case.
Okay. So
Here,
you have taken the projection at the increased rate.
yes, even the working of that, how we have in the projection, we said as per the agreement, then we said next column is the expected increase due to our case which is with the CERC. This is a regulatory commission, electricity regulatory commission. So that has also been considered separately. Because here normally everything is government. So the chances of winning are very, very high, provided these are reasonable. So that the reasonability we have examined. Why I am using the word we? I am using the word we on behalf of registered valuer who has given the report and which I am discussing.
Sir, just one question. Can any government reduce the price, agreement price is 7 rupees and then can it reduce to 2.5 rupees?
I don't think there should be, I think it's very subjective and different matter. It happens everywhere. But, if it is formula driven,
okay.
When I have a experience I worked with the UP Electronic Corporation, one company where it was a formula driven, and that too normally it was on a raw material. In that case, it was linked with LIBOR or a MIBOR. Here I have seen reduction. Otherwise, I have not seen the reduction so far. Maybe possibilities are there.
Okay.
Now we are at transmission service agreement, and here now we are talking about the revenue. 7 long term, they say LTTC. In the agreement, they say LTTC. It is a long term transmission customer. So the long term customers in this case are Maharashtra State Electricity Board and Transco. And even the consultancy agreement, post-COVID impact, etc., along with the commercial terms. Here we are discussing about the long-term transmission customer agreement, and then the period we will discuss in the subsequent part. Let us see the role. Now, for the time being, let us spend another 10 minutes on technical discussion. The technical reports are relevant, and in this present case, the technical report was issued by chairman and member, CERC, World Bank, advisor World Bank, the power station, chief engineer, CERC. This fellow gave the report of 35 pages. Let us summarize. This is the because I have told you there were in one of SPVU, I will be touching only one, not all, because it will give the flavor. So I have considered the technical of P Power Grid, Parley Transmission Limited. So I'll be using PPTL. So this transmission lines, okay, this report, a technical report. Now, this again, always, now see the KV and the DC. DC means direct power, AC means alternate power. You will find 400 kV, and these are the always you will find 400, 765. It cannot be in between. Here, the technical specification was there are transmission lines for which the technical reports are available, and these are owned by that SPV company, TTPL. Here, the technical report says the company has a transmission license of 25 years. Now, see, we will start about, now we are talking about a license period. It is not a life of the license from the regulatory body. Then they say TSA, service agreement for 35 years. And this is extendable. You know, this 25-year license can be extended to 35 years. This I am reading from the technical report. About the environmental and safety, report of quality, and then availability, I have told you, very, very important. Then there are two important areas which as a valuer must know is the depreciation, that is the life, and the cyber threat. You know, I'll cover that. Here, as per the report, see the tariff regulation. Tariff means based on which the rates are decided. The depreciation rate considered 25 years life. For transmission, 35 years life. And further, technical life of the transmission life can be extended up to 50 years. See this just go through numbers of years, and this is based on tariff regulations. If the license is 25, can be extended to 35. Agreement is 35. Here life is 25, can be 35. It can go up. 25 saal, 35 years, and 50 years. So it is always, important to note that life relevant from valuation point of view because of depreciation and usable life. Here the expert report Hardev ji, Mr. Hardev.
Yes, sir.
Anji, sir, namaskar.
Namaste, sir.
Happy to see you. Good.
Sir,
Now good to see you.
It's a nice.
Now you have recovered from,
nice.
The corona.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. God is great. Now, Hardev ji, now we are into a slightly, different discussion about the approval requirement. What do you think, Mr. Subbarao, you are there on the line now?
Yes, sir.
We need the attention of both Mr. Hardev also and Mr. Subbarao. You know, Mr. Hardev, do you think how many additional approval may be required for power project or a transmission project? Any idea?
I think it's a separate law under which like there's a Power Corporation Act Limited. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No. It is not a question of sorry, because you know it is only a matter of participation. I mean, do you have something with you so that
I know that there are some. I mean, act is there. A separate act is there.
no? Do you think any practical, you know, the approval may be required? Because in the subsequent slide, Mr. Subbarao is going to, you know, read out those, you know, I'll put one small. Do you think the permission from National Highway will be required?
Yes.
Yes. Now let us see the now.
Because we are using that. I mean, this line from.
Now, Mr. Subbarao, the screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now tell me how many approvals required. Can you read out for the transmission? It is the
Central Electrical Regulatory Commission.
Okay, then the forest.
Government of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change.
Right. Then we have some approvals under
Electricity Act 2003.
Then, you know, again, can you
PTCC, Government of India.
Can you read
Power
out?
and Telecommunication Coordination Committee clearance.
Then again, you know, the approval for adoption of tariff.
Central Electrical Regulatory Commission.
Right. Now,
yes,
railway crossing.
Railway crossing, South Central Railway or Central
Because
Railway?
This project was at that place, na, Maharashtra. Then we have a
road crossing, NHAI. River crossing,
no major was
river.
there.
Yeah. Power line crossing, Maharashtra State Electricity Company Limited.
You know what is power line? One power line is crossing the another power line.
Aviation clearance, Airport Authority of India. Defense clearance, NOC for construction angle. Environmental clearance not required.
I mean, only one, you know, when I was going through the report, technical report, so you know, there are 16, I have just, you know, may have missed one smaller robo, but 16 are the major approvals which are relevantly required. You know, idea here is just to, you know, here the purpose is not to discuss, but to have an idea. Do you think any valuation is required? Yes, the answer is, so I thought I should tabulate it and share with you. Thank you. Now, this is the Hardev ji. Mr. Hardev.
Yes, sir.
Let us conclude. I mean, let us see this technical part, conclusion part. Conclusion was
company has obtained a statutory clearance, Electricity Act 2003. CE standards followed for erection, testing or commissioning. Company has entered into O&M agreement.
This is operation and management.
Yeah. Company is maintaining a mandatory spares, safety standards followed, availability of project. As per
transmission service agreement.
Yeah, TSA, the life of the project is required to be 35 years. However, with the proper maintenance, overhauling, the life of the project can be expanded up to 50 years, extended up to 50 years.
See, now I think now the overall scenario about the life and the life of the project, I hope it have been cleared by now. Okay, now, thank you. No, I'll request, Mr. Rajendra, I think he was there. Mr. Sandeep. Sandeep?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's only one Sandeep, na, I hope. But okay, yes, Sandeep Agarwal. The screen is visible to you?
Yes.
Mr. Sandeep,
Yeah.
what about why I'm discussing the cyber security risk?
Because of network.
Yes, the air. Sorry.
I said that I was saying the transmission lines are computerized and controlled via computer networks.
Right. So what do you think? I was, I was happy to note, and in fact, while I was going through the depth study, I thought this was a prime important, and somewhere I have read कि एक पूरे महाराष्ट्र में पूरे कुछ सेकंड के लिए बिजली चला गया था because there was there was some problem with the security system on the power line, something like that. If something has been gone wrong, that this cyber security risk is one of the parameters which is, even though it is not for running the project relevant, as a valuer also, if it is not there, then you can put some reduction clause. I think it will not be possible, but if anything is suppose comparatively not there, then the registered valuer has to apply a discount in the valuation, doing the valuation here.
But sir, one question, sir, will this not be important for distribution companies?
Everywhere, starting from the, it is, I'm not talking about a cyber at a generation, transmission, distribution, every stage. This, basically it is a software. So here, in fact, I have considered only, if you see the power plant, see in the subsequent slide. No, what I am discussing is the power ministry is very much, concerned about this. Now, see, can you read out?
Cyber security, cyber threat to critical assets under operation due to use of information technology are well recognized. Liaison with National Critical Information Infrastructure Product Center and CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team.
See, these are very, very important. That because cyber threat is it is, even though it is universally threat is there, but keeping in view the power sector or other sectors, they are dependent on infrastructure. So here this I am showing you a IT, but the second slide is subsequent slide is relevant. This IT computer emergency response team. In February, this ministry designated a computer emergency response team as a authority to issue instruction, the blocking website under IT to prevent online absenteeism. The National Critical Information Protection Center was designated as a nodal agency, and this is the, center. So here I have touched upon this because as a checklist, the security, and as a valuer, we always go for that, insist for the copy of the insurance and being a part of our checklist. Now the valuation report. Till so far, we have discussed about the power, the overall sector. Then we have discussed about subsector on transmission. Then we have discussed about the technical reports. We have so far done a technical report and some features of long-term agreements. That is TSA. PPA is not there because it is not with power purchase. It is for transmission. And here we have a long-term customer supply agreements. So far, we have covered procedure. As a part of valuation report, we always have to mention the procedure. Here, consider the historical data of SPV because TTPL, PPTL, we are doing the valuation of PPTL, one SPV. So this SPV projections we will do, discussion with the management, always a part of that. TSA, technical report, we have discussed. Economic and industrial factor, we have also discussed. From the public domain, the comparable transaction, that we will discuss in the second part, comparable transaction. Then the selection of this part, continuation. 8th point is selection, then enterprise value. So basically, the procedure will be starting from history, then analysis, review, then selection of the approach. Here it is very important to discuss the base and the premises of valuation. And for the purpose, the word investigation, because IVS 10 says about the investigation. So here MCA site, word outlook we have discussed, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Renewable Energy, because their role is going up, percentages, Electricity Authority, Solar Energy Corporation, also important, we have considered in our report, National Electricity Plan report, even the report from is very, very important, EF. This is a site which we always use. It is an Indian Brand Equity Foundation reports. Now, because it's a power grid and there is a SPV, we are doing the valuation of this SPV. And this power grid, now we have started about discussing a power grid. Here, in fact, this subsidiary was 100% owned by power grid, 100% managed by power grid, operation and management, financed by power grid, back-to-back arrangement with power grid, all losses, contingent losses will go to power grid. Mr. Chirag, Mr. Patel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Chirag.
Yes,
we are doing the valuation for SPV.
Yeah.
And now we have started discussing parent. Why I have started discussing the parent? Do you think any role is there?
See, ultimately the Power Grid Corporation is the holding company. So whatever the valuation of an SPV, indirectly it will affect Power Grid Corporation as well, because it's holding 100% holdings of SPV.
While doing the valuation of SPV,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the future slide, you will find I will be using all the health parameter of a parent company.
Yeah.
No. You know, when you have a SPV,
Yeah.
if it is independent, suppose it would have been an independent.
Yeah, it is
definitely I would have not talked about the parent company.
Right.
Unless and until there is a corporate guarantees, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Normally, as a, you know, what I am sharing you, in a normal practice, when you do the valuation of any subsidiary, even though it is 100% subsidiaries, unless and until it is dependent on the parent, we don't take the health or wealth or a credit. You know, we have to go for the rating.
Right.
Credit rating is also required.
Right.
Here, because SPV, had it been an independent body, independent, I would have not touched upon the parent.
Right.
Here, because in special circumstances, it is a government on, everything is back to back. It is called back to back. You know, it's very relevant terms prevalent, back to back arrangement.
Yeah.
In public sector, if you have dealt with, they said agreement, oh, back to back. I mean, oh, parent ko chala jayega yaar, tum chinta kyun karte ho?
Yeah,
or it will be to the supplier only. The supplier, there will be having a back to back arrangement. If the penalty is there, it will be back to back transferred. Because it is a back to back arrangement. I mean, that is why, and parent, the son or SPV is totally dependent on powers, the parent. So that is why I have started discussing parent. Now, you will find, be there on the line for another, you know, the moment we will finish that part of the role of a parent. You know, here, about the parent, why the financials are required when you are doing a valuation of a subsidiary. The answer is because of higher dependence, and in the future, in the future slide, you will find, because now I will be looking for a discount rate.
Yes.
Now everything, the WACC, the beta, the other parameter, you know, in when you do evaluation, we will be using as a CAPM.
Yes.
So everything we will be using of a parent.
Okay.
That is why, you know, say, I am putting more concentrate on Power Grid. AAA has a global footprint. You know, the plus things about the and the 51% holding is government. This is Power Grid and central transmission utility. You know, this CTU, you will find it has a, you know, different role to play. Not relevant for this discussion, but, you know, please keep in your diary that there is a central transmission utility, and this the unique feature that the Power Grid is having a monopoly, you know, and this company is listed having a market cap of 85,000 crores. And then it has a AAA rating, internationally AAA local, BBB Moody's, transmission lines. See the circuit kilometer, then the substation, megawatt ampere, then this the capacity, subsidiaries and joint ventures. Here this subsidiaries, one of the subsidiary we are doing the valuation. This is the Power Grid. This is the rating, you know, when technology having a, you know, monopoly, and Manesar, they are having a excellent, you know, Assets Management Center. So I'm talking about PG only. PG growth, PAT. Okay, it is growth. The income also. And point is, we have now discussed about the parent also. We will be using subsequently. Now, which standards as a valuer I have to follow? This or this? Any point anyone would like to? You would like to answer? Sandeep. Mr. Sandeep?
Yes, sir.
You know, when we are doing a valuation, now we are into actual valuation. Which standard should I follow? You are SFA, na?
Yes, sir.
Any valuation done so far?
Yeah, quite a few of them.
Then which standard you have used? You know,
We are using IVS.
why?
But IVS is more recognized, and see, ICI valuation standard is applicable only to ICI registered valuers. Otherwise, it is both are more or less same, but IVS is more internationally recognized.
You are very, you are very right, and thank you. You know, another very relevant point for if you compare IVS with ICI valuation standard, if you compare only the index, what you will find, CA Institute has not covered about plant and machinery. They have not covered about land and building. Because if you find IVS, we have 300, we have 400, we have 410. These are not there. Corresponding, standards are not there, because the CA Institute standards are not into land building and plant and machinery. So in this case, the valuer, power grid valuation was done by RBSA. They are registered with ICAI. So ICAI valuation standard have been used in this valuation report. There has been not much difference, because the major there is as such no difference, but RBSA is registered as entity with ICAI RVO. So ICI valuation standard has been used. Now, when we say this standard has been used, and we will now use the definition of a fair value, what is the base? Disturbance are there. I think Mr. Hari Krishnan, some disturbance is from your side. Some voice is, maybe now it is. Now it is okay. When we start looking into the valuation standards, we look for a fair valuation definition, base and premises. Here, if you see the base of premises is governed by scope of work and the purpose. Here, the base is, and the premises is, base is fair value and the premises is going concern, because it is not a liquidation valuation. So it is a going concern, and these are two are relevant, we have discussed. Now the valuation date is 31st December. And premises is going concern. What about the approaches and methods? So, we have cost method, market methods, and income method. which approach and method is to be used. If it is the assessed base, यानी कि cost, let us discuss the cost approach. It says the special purpose vehicle has entered into a 35 years agreement. The future earnings are more relevant rather than the historical cost. So this approach has not been considered. Cost approach, not. Now let us see the next one. Market approach. In market approach, we always use CCM method and CTM. CTM in CCM is a comparable company. In TTM is a comparable transaction. Here also, this approach is not considered appropriate because the no comparable transactions of in the transmission business in India has taken place or comparable, because SPV for which we are doing the valuation is a unlisted company. Even though the parent is listed, but the SPV is unlisted. So this approach we have not considered. Now the left is income approach. In the income approach, the projections of 35 years, I've told you that the 35 years projection we will consider. Data will be reviewed, which has been given by the management, and then analyze. DCF methods are there.
Sir, Arvind here, one
Yes.
question. In one of the slides, you had stated the license period was 25 years.
Yes.
The agreement was for 35 years.
Yes.
So how do you factor these two things into the valuation?
I think you have missed one line. They say the license is 25 years.
Yeah.
You can extend, it can go up to 35 years, provided you apply on 23rd year. I mean, 2 years before that, if you apply for the extension, then it can go up to 35 years.
Sir, assuming for whatever reasons, the license has not been extended, certain condition, do you keep some contingency or some kind of a buffer for that? How do you factor that in?
As you know, you are very right. As a valuer, now I think it is open discussion for everyone. I'll open, the slide also. You said such type of contingencies.
Yes, sir.
How do you build in a valuation report? Can you suggest me presently what factors you are considering in the present report, which you are releasing?
So there were certain factors, honestly, like the agreements, revenue streams, uncertainties. These are more or less based on a judgment once you interpret to the agreements and the documentation you look at.
Right.
Or some data is available.
Right. Presently, in the present situation, you might have been using or releasing the valuation report. How you are capturing the contingency?
Sir, I have not done that great evaluations. I am
okay. Anyone would like to add?
Sir, I think we need to give probability, sir, and
we
then
will,
take the.
We will give the probability. Any other word? Any very excellent. This is the proper word. And if I say somebody says valuation, I said it is a the present value of the future benefit along with by using the probability. Everywhere, whether you are using a Black-Scholes model or a binomial theory or any simulation method, you have rightly touched this word. Probability is the right word, because we are not doing anything else. We are using a statistics, and that is a matter of probability. Probability, again, for a probability, you use advanced statistics, where we use, statistical technique. Excellent. Yes, the probability. Now, probability based on facts, based on, by using standard deviation, various, slightly a different subject. You are very right. The probability, through probability, it is being captured. Any other word which you can think of, which we have been using? Anyone would like to add? There's a relevant, prevalent, term which I have been using.
Sir,
Very.
So considering the probability of happening, I mean, renewal of the agreement or not, we might consider a discounting on the valuation.
Yeah, that is there. I am looking for a one word, that maybe if you would like to, otherwise I will write it.
So is it sensitivity?
Excellent. Yes. I was looking for that. This is the sensitivity analysis. So the probability is being captured and sensitivity, and you will find in my presentation I have done the sensitivity analysis also. I have done the sensitivity analysis in my presentation. Sensitivity is also applied in between, or the probability is applied. When we take the future projections, and if you, I can show you. I'm doing a valuation for my client, and it is about to be released today evening. I will release the report. I have considered in the projection the revenue in the downline. Second point, I said probability of achievement because of COVID. I have factor 80% because and sometime, and that another point in the projection which I am considering today. I have used whether it is a V-shaped recovery. They are into auto sector. What happened to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? I mean, it is all a judgment, and it is being captured through probability. And sometimes we use the word probability, and to avoid that probability, it is converted into, we say, okay, how much is the risk factor? The same probability, if you start using everywhere, वो बोलेंगे यार इसने valuation क्या कर रहा है? He is only using the probability. So we avoid using the word probability. We will say the discount rate is this much, but because of the company risk, I will add 1%. Because of the COVID risk, probability risk, I will add 1%. So instead of probability, I'll start using the word risk and keep on adding just to capture the probability. Okay, now, so you have touched every point, I hope. Sensitivity, I was looking for, you have done it. Contingency is, we always, when you make a projection, and we make some contingency provision also, and in the projections. Okay, good. Thank you. Now, Madam Vanya, what was your name? Is Lavanya?
Lavanya.
Your office seems to be, you have a very good library, or?
So that's a virtual background.
Oh, I was appreciating, Saraswati to aapke piche itni hai, I thought, okay. Acha, mujhe bhi, I will show you my library. I have, whether I'm on camera or not, it is open or. Yes, I am having a library there, big Almira, and you will find some of the books is McKinsey, the Mudran, because then we have number of the Hull, because I am into practice, and with the option valuation, complex instruments are there. You have a convertible debentures, which is compulsory convertible debentures, sometimes optionally convertible. Option is with the holder, it is with the investor. That is why the Black-Scholes models are being used for valuation. Even I have done a valuation of a brand by using option approach valuation. I am fan of the Mudran. One cannot survive without the Mudran. So that is why all valuation standards must be there in the kit. I used to recommend every valuer should have a valuation kit, which should consist of the Indian standard, the international standard. If one must know how many international standards are there, RICS, Royal Institute. Then we have a European valuation standard. Then AICPA, IVS to hai, and the country specific standards. You must have, because sometime, मेरे गुरु ने बोला था कोई भी रख लो अपनी लाइब्रेरी में. And you will surprise when I was doing a valuation of a brand valuation. I have gone up to that I have done the valuation as per ISO. In another countries, the intangible assets valuation number has been given. ISO 60068, 60068. We at a, if somebody says, how Dhamija you are in knowledge, I will say only 5%. 5 to 6% if I compare with the international. That is why one must start reading the valuation reports, especially or evaluation policy of any listed company. You go to Reliance, Tata, you will find the impairment testing. That I am going to tell you the impairment testing. And I have been doing a valuation for impairment testing. And that is, under Ind AS. So that is why every valuer must have, definitely the opportunity will come, must on a weekly basis listen to one valuation standard webinar for 2 hours, 3 hours, make some, schedule. Otherwise, you will be, we will be at, at a back bench. Kaun le jayega? The big four. Why big four? They know how to, they have a very good library. Saraswati. They have a very quick response system. The moment they will tell you, when I was doing a valuation of one intangible assets, nobody was willing to give me the I know the formulas, the how to arrive at, because I have some, theoretical knowledge. Nobody was telling me, sir, how to arrive at the valuation by using relief from royalty method. Sir, from where I have to take the royalty rate? Then, the how to apply. Then I found out by using Canadian Institute. The Canada Institute has a full-fledged, a slide consisting of 40 pages, 40 or 50 pages. They have given step by step the how to compute the, because the in intangible assets, it is not the WAC, it is VARA, weighted average assets, weighted average, the rate of assets. WARA is used when you do a valuation of intangible assets, because you are doing the debit side balance, investment or intangible assets valuation. WAC will not be there because you don't have any risk for that. So you have a VARA. How to calculate VARA? Then I went to Canada Institute, web publication. From there I got BDO agency. From there I got. Then I KPMG. From idea is you cannot say, you keep on adding the number of books in your library and have a webinar on weekly basis or fix some periodicity. Why I am saying you? Because the requirement, the latest requirement. Have you heard about the ESG? Because you will find everybody is saying ESG. It is, they say economical, social and governance. They say, do you do the valuation of this? My point is, हम पीछे रह जाएंगे बहुत. Now people's, that is why I always say everyone should listen to global webinars, and you just search in, go for an international valuation standard board, subscribe to them, and I have been getting the emails and for various webinars, and I have been getting some of the information, and I have a member there. Can you tell me, madam, there is a difference between brand and trade? Do you think trade is bigger or brand is bigger? Brand valuation?
Brand is bigger, sir.
Then what brand is then? because I have raised the question in a simple way. So you have given the answer correctly. Because one should know, are we doing a valuation of a brand, or it is only trademark, or it is a copyright? So the brand, when I start looking into the international webinar, they said brand is bigger than a trademark. So they put a bigger circle saying it is a brand, and the trademark was a small circle there in between that. My point is, one has to be very, very careful in the power project. When we are now discussing with the power project is not a, it is not a very small, because it is why the power projects, there is a Supreme Court judgment initially, IBC matter related to power projects. When they were there, they said power projects are governed, controlled, monitored by Government of India. They should not be, they should be kept away from IBC. And incidentally, there were, initially cases. Then the as on date, the IBC cases are there, part of IBC matter. But the people said no, it is everything run by government, used by everyone. I mean, all the channels, government is there, tariff is fixed by government. Then why the insolvency go for a support package? Even the DISCOM package was given in the distribution company. The idea is the power project. When I got the call from Divya Jyoti, they said, are you going for any big ticket valuation? I said, okay, I'll choose for a power project, because I thought unless and until we share. Then I kept on recollecting, because the selection of this power project was because in the few months ago, there was a public issue of power grid. And the power grid, when I saw the power grid overhead, the red herring prospectus, it contains RBSA report of 132 pages RBSA report. I said, what is this RBSA report? And in SEBI investment unit trust, normally the role of SFA is 0. Though it is a registered valuer has to do. Then I go on searching. Then I gone through their valuation report. Then we had a discussion. Then I kept on, making a research paper. Then I thought it is a very good idea where we can discuss the power project valuation. So based on 15 days or 20 days, the work home, the gathering information, homework. So I have been in a position to deliberate. Now I would like to add something more based on the feedback from the participants. Let us move ahead. Now, मैं कभी-कभी divert हो जाता हूँ. This is my weak area. I should not deviate from the main discussion. Here, see how minutely these are. When the revenue side was examined, you will find there were escalation clause, non-escalation clause. Meaning thereby, this is as per agreed terms. Some of the parameters are escalable. Incentive. So what I am looking into, TSA terms. Operating this projection. Annually, escalation. These are all, now I am talking about projected the revenue, the sale parts. The expenses, insurance, expenses, important is to a CSR expenses. CSR expenses. Then depreciation. Oh my God. This we will discuss separately. Very interesting. Depreciation. Here, the deep knowledge of depreciation. Have you heard about right to way afforestation? Mr. Pankaj.
Yes, sir.
Can you read out and help me in, what in fact on the screen?
Yeah, right. In fixed assets, right to way appreciation rupees 928 lakhs as on 31st March 2020.
What do you think? What exactly it is, and how this the rate of depreciation, and what exactly this afforestation?
I think, sir, during the life of the project or kind of proportionately diversion of the value of the fixed assets.
Sir, I am using the word afforestation. Sir, we are into power project. Anyone would like to, a simple meaning. Don't go technical meaning. It has a very simple meaning. Have you heard about reforestation? It is related to forest.
Tree plantation.
Yes, it is basically, when you have taken the power grid permission to, when you are installing the power project and transmission projects, you have to, dig out various trees, because to compensate that, when you have to pay or spend the expenses to reforest, or when the deforestation and reforestation here. And another is when you are using the area or right to way, you have to make a payment, a compensation, right to use that particular land. That amount is a part of your balance sheet. If then, as a valuer, how much depreciation should I apply?
So it should be spread over the entire period of the life cycle of the project. The number of year which right we have got
Now,
from the
yes, now I think now it cannot be 10 year. When we started our discussion, we were at around 10 year, 15 year. Now we went up to 25 year, 35 year, 50 years. Now here, as per the norms, okay, it went up to 35 years. Another important thing, is it is a SLM or WDV. Very interesting. Now, anyone who is into income tax, just I would need his help or her help. Anyone into income tax? संदीप जी आप आ गए सामने.
हाँ जी.
संदीप जी, can you help me? Because why am Mr. Sandeep Sehgal?
Yes, sir.
See, Mr. Sandeep, why, as a valuer, why should I go into income tax depreciation? Can you explain your thought on that?
Yes, sir, but the thing is, my actual tax liability will be calculated as per the depreciation under income tax. So my cash flow will get impacted accordingly.
So it means, as a valuer, I must know the income tax applicable to power project, or especially the transmission project,
Yes,
the
yes.
client which we are looking into. Any
Yes.
idea? Any idea? It is on the screen. In fact, I have already opened. You know, for the power project, can you read out? I mean, this is paragraph for all the, benefit for all the participants.
80 a year benefits, sir.
Sorry?
80 a year benefits, sir.
No, I'm not touching about the ATIA. I'm just, that will be there over and above. You're very right. Because section, in fact, I'm not aware. There is a capital, the investment allowance so-called. That is must be there. But here, earlier to that, I just referring to a depreciation.
Yeah, depreciation, there are two aspects, sir. One is MAT credit. If a company is having, you are telling about that, sir, that concept?
Now,
Depreciation
in fact,
calculation?
I need your help on the, I need your attention to the screen. The screen is visible to you?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, here, in fact, I'm looking, your, thought process on that. On the screen, can you help me? Just
Sir,
read out.
Sir, may I add something?
Yeah, please.
Sir, in income tax, sir, there are two methods of depreciation available for power projects and transmission distribution projects.
Right.
One is WDV, one is a SLM project. SLM is a separate rate provided in the IT rules. And once you adopt a particular method, you have to follow that for the rest of the life of that thing. So,
Yeah, you are Mr.
Sandeep Agarwal, sir.
Sandeep, the screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If you see in the screen, I have tried to capture those,
yes,
the WDV and then SLM. And the SLM is given in Annexure 1A. And once exercise, you are very right. Now, if you see the income tax rates, we have from 1.95% SLM, it is WDV chart is there. SLM also chart is there. It ranges 1.95 for, a beautiful table is there for hydro project and for meter, etc. 33.40. In the Companies Act, we have life of wind power and then thermal power and then transmission line. Luckily, transmission line is 40 years and then distribution is 35 years. See, point is here. Now, depreciation as per income tax, no problem. We have discussed. Hardev ji, Mr. Hardev, even we have depreciation as per CERC regulation. So, such a, आपके पास SLM, Companies Act भी है, WDV भी है, income tax भी है, and again, why this are here? This is because the tariff, the rate, electricity rates are decided based on, SERC regulations. Now, depreciation we have discussed a lot. Now, let me, plan our. Now it is 1:46, and कितना time और है हमारे पास?
Sir, already we are over, but
then I think quickly we'll. पर मुझे नहीं पता लगा. वो मेरे पापा बोलते थे, वो पहलवान ना अपनी अब कह रहा जी मालिश करो, कह रहा मैं तो थका ही नहीं, वो मालिश करने वाला थोड़ा. हाँ जी, तो मैं पापा की बात याद आती है. तो अच्छा, मैं क्विकली करता हूँ अभी. जी, देखिए, नाउ we have a Gordon code method for terminal value. Here WACC is applied, the KE, KD, K is in subsequent slide. KD we have taken, the parents लेते तो 7% पे लेते, and effective rate of tax is this. Ultimately, the weighted average, weighted average applied for the project comes to 7.7%. And where we have taken RF, beta, RM, alpha. Just remember, now this, everyone must start using this alpha. Alpha is because of COVID and etc. Now RF we have taken from government bond, beta from the the grid, power grid, it is listed company. It was levered, unlevered, equity risk. Then
can you explain the tax rate? It is 22.2%.
This I have, effective rate. We worked out the effective rate over the life of the project.
Is it effective rate or maximum marginal rate?
No, it is effective rate, maximum marginal not rate, effective rate over 35 years. We worked out there. It is also permissible. This rate is permissible.
This rate is permissible.
Yes, yes. The power grid is there. Here we have taken the beta. And these are the revenue projected for 35 years. 2053. 35 years. Okay. Then we have the revenue for 35 years here consolidated. Then we have the EBITDA as expenses, taxes here. Then we have profit after tax, normal. Now we are working as per DCF method. As per DCF method, we worked out depreciation, capex, working capital, cash flow. Then midterm value, present value, terminal value by using Gordon growth method. The growth we have considered 5.5%. WACC we have 5.55 in the earlier slide. And then terminal cash was 80. Accordingly, the terminal value was arrived at 10840. Then enterprise value, cash, number of shares. Now the value per share is 40 rupees and 77 paisa. And then we have a list of limitations. And valuation is arrived at by performing DCF method, other methods not used. Then yahan pe we have done, the valuation summary is this, WACC this, ultimately 40 rupees 8 paisa. The sensitivity analysis. Here the enterprise value was 2572 is the base value, base case. Now I have considered the expenses. If go up, then the value will be 2567. If the expenses will go down by 10%, then the value will be this. Similarly, the sensitivity is for WACC. If the WACC is up, then this cost will be, WACC will go down. So this is the summary. If here the value will go down, and in such cases value will go up because the expenses have been reduced. So the cash flow has gone up. Now, so the let us do, I'll share you from here, our valuation subject is close here, that the valuation of the SPV has been arrived at 25,972 million. This is in million and this is per share. And in the subsequent it is million. Had I do a sensitivity analysis, then now the just to tell you that in the power project, few deals. Another point is there is a difference between Tata and Adani Group. They are into generation group. They are Genco company. They are not transmission company. The transmission company is power grid. And the in the distribution company we have a in Delhi we have a private companies also. Here the deal in the private sector was, here point was this. In the past, Tata acquired the company at a multiple of, when we talk about multiple, 4 crore per megawatt project. 1 multiple, 2.5 multiple, 3 crore per mega, 3 crore per mega per, this is a acquisition. And haircut, the out of court settlement hai, out of IBC, sorry. I hope now it is over. Impairment testing, I'll take one point. In impairment testing, this I have done. Impairment. Impairment is basically using DCF method. I'll share you the working for that. And this is the, just I'll tell you, this is a report shared by Mr. R.K. Patel. And this I will be sharing you. He has done impairment testing. And hopefully now at the end, शर्मा जी सॉरी मैं ना भूल जाता हूँ आपको जी सॉरी
यस सर
मुझे अपने पे कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा ये
कोई बात नहीं यस
सर
सर
थैंक यू एवरीवन आई होप नाउ द सेकंड सेशन विल बी ऑन लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग और आपका जो है हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट पे
हाँ 3:30 को है सर
अच्छा
can we get this PPT on the email?
Yes,
I'll give to sir and he will distribute.
You will share with everyone. PPT will share with everyone. So, thank you, बोल दें सर.
बिल्कुल सर.
अच्छा. So we have come to end of this CEP. Time has come for thanking everyone. Thank you, Dhamija sir, for associating with us and taking this highly technical subtopic. Subject was very technical, and you have worked hard and attended. Done it very beautifully with lot of research, and you seek participants' response and involve participants. That makes the program very lively. Keep alert also, and so learning is more. Thank you participants for participating this program, and hope you have a fair idea of valuation of a big ticket power plant. I look forward to your participation in future CEPs also. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It was very good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Nice presentation.
Right, sir. Thank you, Ji. Nigam, you are from which place?
Hyderabad, sir.
Hyderabad.
I am from Hyderabad, sir.
Acha, Hyderabad. Yes. I have number of, clients or colleague, in fact, from Hyderabad. One fellow is Dr. Alad Rao. And he is a Alad Rao. Yeah, company secretary. We have a very long association with him. For the last, 3.5 years, we were in the first batch. So he is very, helpful to us. As and when anything required, he always give a unbiased advice. So, do you know him or incidentally or?
Yes, we know him, sir. We both are father and son.
Oh, acha.
Both
Okay.
are SFE values.
Okay, one, Mr. Pavan,